So I was having a bit of tech issues yesterday when I was filming my videos, and I ran out of SD card space, and things just weren't working out for me. I knocked the camera down, I did all kinds of stuff, but hopefully I came up with some good content for you guys, and we'll see how it goes. So the gist of the video is that I want to run some beads in some 1/8 plate steel, and normally if you're doing sheet metal you would run this through your bead roller. But this is so thick that the bead roller doesn't have the capacity for it. So I'm going to show you an easy way how you can roll beads into thicker material, just like this. We're going to be using this as a strengthening rib for the planishing hammer build that's coming up in a video. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Anyway, let's get to it. So the first thing you want is this is a chisel bit that I've rounded the end off. And I'll come a little bit closer, you can see we're going to be using this to run our beads. So now the next thing we want to do is I want to open the vise up and I want to run a peaking bead that's about 1/2 inch wide. So I got my piece of steel here and I've marked it on the center. And so what I'll be doing is I'll be setting the center in the middle of the vise, and I'll be running the air chisel down it, and we'll see how good that works. Usually what ends up happening is you're stretching the metal, so this is going to end up being a big curve, and I'll show you how to fix that towards the end of the video. I found this works really well. You need to do a little bit of trimming by the time you're done, but I'll show you all about it.
Initially, the hardest and most important part is to make sure that your piece is centered in the vise. First, start by scoring the center with a few raps of the air chisel. I have my pressure set at 60 psi. You will see as I'm doing this that I will constantly readjust my chisel so that it stays centered. Once I have a line drawn with the chisel, I will then follow the line to create a smoother bead. Then, once I'm happy with the depth, the chisel is held at an angle towards the vise to sharpen the edges of the bead.
So now this is coming along pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it so far. It looks like we're going to get a good ending to our beads here. I kind of wanted this one to be a little bit more pointy, but I can take care of that after. I mean, it's a little bit wonk, but a little bit of grinding should be able to solve that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hammer bit on here. We're going to lay this flat on the vise, and we're going to stretch these edges, which in effect, what it's going to do is stretch the metal out, and this will flatten right out. See how that's straightening out already? So now I'm going to try and straighten this line out a little bit. I got a little bit of a wow in it, and some of it is because it's a little bit too wide here, and some of it is because I need to add a bit more here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up against the vise. I'm going to angle my chisel so now this is pushing into the vise. And slowly that's slowly coming along. So I've got a little edge in the edge of my vise here, and it's about the right size of this. So I'm going to try and straighten this out a little bit with the flat hammer, bring that edge a little bit more sharp, and we'll see what we can do. I'm not worried about all these hammer marks in here because a lot of that will go away as we're working this. And I'm not too worried that this isn't completely centered because I'm going to be trimming the edges anyway. I made this a little bit bigger than what it needs to be. So you can see what I did here is, it's hard to pick it up in the camera, is I ran this bead all the way through. And it's not 100% great. You can see that I've got some hammer marks in this. But this is pretty much exactly what I wanted. I'm not too worried about these hammer marks, because when I go and cut some of this out, you can see I made it a little bit wider. And right there, that's not exactly the right line that I want to do. But by the time I get this cut, most of those hammer marks are going to be out. And I'm going to get it welded in. So I'm going to go ahead, cut this, metal finish it. You can see that I've got my little bit of a cutout here. This is just the guide right now. I'm not exactly going to go buy this. I keep looking over at my planishing hammer. But this gives me an idea of kind of where that's going to be. So I'm going to cut everything to fit so that I can try and get it welded in, or at least tacked in, and we'll go from there. I want to use this as a good example on what you can do at home with an air chisel. Now I went ahead and I did a bunch of work, and I've got a bunch of stuff sorted out here. I've got our piece in. I've got our a bunch of welding done. I still got to metal finish it a little bit, and I've got some pits that I want to putty before I paint it. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Here's our rib that we did. So it's that simple, and this thing is way stronger, way more rigid. I just finished filling it with sand. I can't wait to use this thing.
If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the bell. Share this video and be sure to comment below. I always try to reply back. There's a lot of great content coming up on this channel, and you don't want to miss it. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram. Let's hang out in the garage.